What is your favorite thing about the Father Christmas scene in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? Hi, my name is Ted Rosenblatt, and I'm here with my father, Dr. Rod Rosenblatt. And Merry Christmas, baby! Oh, we're there. Let's go. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it's already a mess in the house. There's already tons of food and coffee, wine, whatever. All the stuff. It's total. I love it. I love it. You wake up and it goes from silence to cacophony. Just like that. It's just insanity. And the kids are just not sleeping and they just can't wait. And it's always the same where they're kicking over your door first thing. You know, they're trying to figure out at 5 a.m, can they come in and wake you up now?
Right.
Or something. It's like waking up to milk the cows or something. It's just as early as possible. Christmas morning. Merry Christmas. It's the favorite day of the year. So, this seems apropos. So I'm just going to read this because I think it's this is a good thing to have for a Christmas. So we're going to do it straight from the book. So Mrs. Beaver and the children came bundling out of the cave, all blinking in the daylight, and with earth all over them, looking very frowsty and unbrushed and uncombed, and with the sleep in their eyes. Yeah, Christmas morning, baby. Come on, cried Mr. Beaver, who was almost dancing with delight. Come and see. This is a nasty knock for the witch. It looks as if her power is already crumbling. What do you mean, Mr. Beaver? Panted Peter, as they all scrambled up the steep bank of the valley together. Didn't I tell you, answered Mr. Beaver, that she'd made it always winter and never Christmas? Didn't I tell you? Well, just come and see. And then they were all at the top and did see. It was a sledge, and it was reindeer with bells on their harness. But they were far bigger than the witch's reindeer, and they were not white, but brown. And on the sledge sat a person whom everyone knew the moment they set eyes on him. He was a huge man in a bright red robe, bright as holly berries, with a hood that had fur inside it, and a great white beard that fell like a foamy waterfall over his chest. Everyone knew him, because though you see people of his sort only in Narnia, you see pictures of them and hear them talked about even in our world, the world on this side of the wardrobe door. But when you really see them in Narnia, it is rather different. Some of the pictures of Father Christmas in our world made him look only funny and jolly. But now that the children actually stood looking at him, they didn't find it quite like that. He was so big and so glad and so real that they all became quite still. They felt very glad, but also solemn. I've come at last, said he. She has kept me out for a long time, but I have got in at last. Aslan is on the move. The witch's magic is weakening. And Lucy felt running through her that deep shiver of gladness which you only get if you are being solemn and still. And now, said Father Christmas, for your presents. There is a new and better sewing machine for you, Mrs. Beaver. I will drop it in your house as I pass. If you please, sir, said Mrs. Beaver, making a curtsy, it's locked up. Locks and bolts make no difference to me, said Father Christmas. And as for you, Mr. Beaver, when you get home, you will find your dam finished and mended and all the leaks stopped and a new sluice gate fitted. Mr. Beaver was so pleased that he opened his mouth very wide and then found he couldn't say anything at all. Peter, Adam's son, said Father Christmas. Here, sir, said Peter. These are your presents, was the answer. And they are tools, not toys. The time to use them is perhaps near at hand. Bear them well. With these words, he handed Peter a shield and a sword. The shield was the color of silver, and across it there was ramped a red lion, as bright as a ripe strawberry at the moment you pick it. The hilt of the sword was of gold, and it had a sheath and a sword belt and everything it needed, and it was just the right size and weight for Peter to use. Peter was silent and solemn as he received these gifts, for he felt they were a very serious kind of present. Susan, Eve's daughter, said Father Christmas, these are for you. And he handed her a bow and a quiver full of arrows and a little ivory horn. You must use the bow only in great need, he said, for I do not mean you to fight in the battle. It does not easily miss. And when you put this horn to your lips and blow it, then wherever you are, I think some kind of help will come to you. Last of all, he said, Lucy, Eve's daughter. And Lucy came forward. He gave her a little bottle of what looked like glass, but people said afterward that it was made of diamond, and a small dagger. In this bottle, he said, there is a cordial made of the juice of one of the fire flowers that grow in the mountains of the sun. If you or any of your friends is hurt, a few drops of this will restore them. And the dagger is to defend yourself at great need, for you also are not to be in the battle. Why, sir? Said Lucy. I think I could be brave enough. That is not the point, he said. But battles are ugly when women fight. And now, here he suddenly looked less grave. Here is something for the moment for you all. And he brought out, I suppose from the big bag at his back, but nobody quite saw him do it, a large tray containing 5 cups and saucers, a bowl of lump sugar, a jug of cream, and a great big teapot, all sizzling and piping hot. And he cried out, Merry Christmas! Long live the true king! And cracked his whip, and he and the reindeer and the sledge and all were out of sight before anyone realized that they had started. So, I guess for me, that's all. You have to tell me. What's your favorite part?
Oh.
This is where we go with this. It's how do you pull a favorite part of Christmas?
Yeah.
Is it the food? Is it the music? Is it the gifts?
I love how Lewis's fluidity with the English language can tell a story in words that most of us English speakers couldn't come up with and combine. And it just rolls out of him. Great depiction of Christ arriving and passing out gifts to the recipients for free. Christmas. And Lewis does it as few writers can do it.
It reminds me of when the kids each had come to some understanding that Santa Claus didn't exist.
Yes.
And it occurred to me over time that children dream this great thing, and it's often realized, sadly not always, hopefully they can eventually if they don't in the beginning, come to that downstairs moment where the gifts are just more than you could have hoped or deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And I've thought about how there's something, as we become adults, we yearn to be adults. We yearn to be grown-ups.
Yes.
As kids.
Yes.
We want to be grown up.
Yes.
We want to make our own decisions and be free.
Yes.
But somehow I've thought about this often. When we see in Scripture about, there's a line in there about, when I grew up, I put away, childish things.
Uh-huh.
And I start to wonder if it's actually the converse of what we think that it is.
Right.
Childish things are doing your taxes. Childish things. What if childish things are doing things like your taxes? What if childish things are making sure that you're punching in and punching out at the right time, and making sure that you're getting your raise and the gas is going in the car, and all those mundane daily types of things that seem so grown up when you're a child. But when you flip it, and Jesus is saying the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. What if the joy in heaven is the joy of Christmas morning that the child understands that the adult has lost?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if when the kids say that Santa no longer exists, it is my faithful father's duty to make sure that at some point they come to understand that he does.
Yeah. Yep. There is one in whom goodness dwells, and he's the last one we would guess because we killed him. But he was raised from the dead and promises good gifts to his own for free.
So good that we can't believe it.
Yep. Yep.
I made a meme and I never pushed it out there. I went and got the screenshot. Remember the movie A Christmas Story? Where the kids came down and just ripped everything apart. And of course the main character was only looking for one gift out of the whole thing. And the younger brother was happy with pretty much everything. There was nothing wrong with anything. And I remember him having that Zeppelin balloon thing with the little rollers on it, and he was rolling it back and forth. And I finally found the picture. It took me a little bit, of that little boy having fallen asleep. He had so spent himself emotionally on opening the presents. It was just so intense. His joy was so intense.
Yeah.
That he just fell asleep with his arm around the Zeppelin, with just Christmas wrapping and mess all around him. And I had some line in there about, what if the joy of the kingdom is more like this than you can fathom?
Mm-hmm.
All the good news of the gospel is right here with this little boy in all of this wrapping.
Like that.
What did the little boy, naughty boy, not even a good boy, naughty boy, what did he do to deserve that? And how great were the gifts that he didn't deserve?
Right.
And what work did he do to earn them and acquire them?
Right.
His job was to receive them and rest.
Yep. No obligation. Just fun. Christmas.
It can't be that good, right? It can't be that good. If the good news is that great, that it's that simple. The kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these, who come down and open their presents and fall down asleep in a nap. Through Jesus Christ, who is the walking embodiment of the perfect version of that for all of us, which we celebrate now as he lies in a manger.
Yep.
For us. That the good Father gives the gifts to you under the tree for you out of his ever-loving kindness for sinners.
Yep.
Because he sent, his son did the perfect work.
Did the deliverance from that sin for us.
Came and atoned, died and rose.
Yep.
For eternal Christmas.
Yep. Not bad.
Yeah, it was always great growing up in your house, Dad. With that, it was every year, and there were times when there were things that I didn't even ask for that would just show up. And I think that it is the duty of us fathers to give that feeling on Christmas. If you fumble about the rest of the year, just make Christmas great.
Yeah.
As best you're able.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we fathers so easily are burdened. We were always sort of guilty and fumbling about and doing the best we can anyway. But man, there's something that entirely repairs so much during Christmas.
Yep.
Like that. And it was the same way in your house. Whatever the other things were in school or work, in family, friends, relationships, messes, Christmas morning was perfect. I tend to want to ask how it was with your dad, but I'm going to digress. The clock runs forth.
Yeah.
Hope this is a wonderful Christmas for you this year, here in 2023. And we're glad that you can come and spend your time with me and Dad and be part of this. And we hear your words and we know how much this affects you. And we are thrilled to be able to bring this to you. I make sure Dad gets your comments, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we intend for you to be sort of with us as we go through this. We intend for this to feel like you're in the room with us as best as we're able with a camera and so forth. And so that we can sort of enjoy Christmas together. So, long live the true King. Merry Christmas. Come to 1517.org for more, and we'll see you on social media. Talk to you soon. Thank you for joining us on Talks with Dad Rod, part of the 1517 Podcast Network. This podcast and all 1517's content is made possible through financial support by listeners just like you. Please visit 1517.org for more, and please consider clicking on the donate button and making a recurring or one-time contribution to help us share this good news in a world which so desperately needs it.